Hey, Podcast Land. This is the second song that I want to share with you from the holiday episodes that I've done in the past. It is from season 1 with my friend Nicole Crangle, and the song is Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. This song was written in 1943, but it became popular when Judy Garland sang it in the movie Meet Me in St. Louis in 1944. Nicole shared such a heartwarming story of changes that were happening in her life. And that's kind of what's happening in the movie. There's changes going on, and this little girl doesn't like it. And, Nicole didn't like the changes that were happening either. When we were done with this interview, I had to go watch the movie. Judy Garland just has the most beautiful voice. And so it's just a sweet story that Nicole shared with me of basically growing up, the transition of leaving your home and starting out on your own. And she wasn't really happy with, how it was panning out at that moment. Then she took a trip home and they were moving, and it was, she had to go through all of her childhood memories and memorabilia in a short amount of time. And she really just wanted things to stay the same. And I think that that is so true, especially during the Christmas season. I know I find myself feeling the same way. And, this is our opportunity to make new traditions. If there's a tradition that you've had in the past and you feel sad that it's gone now, make a new one. Make something in place of that. We don't need to dwell on what isn't happening, but more so dwell on the things that we can control. And this holiday season, maybe it's time for a new tradition. I hope you enjoyed this episode with Nicole Crangle and the song Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas.
Oh man, I love this song. Every time I hear it, I can remember where I was and who I was with. It reminds me of the time. Does this sound familiar? Music is like a scent. It can instantly transport you to another time and place. I ask my guests to dish about their song with the memories that go with it. I'm your host, Tiffany Mason. I have a passion for music and a curiosity about how a song affects someone and why. Turn up your radio and let's explore Memories with a Beat.
Hello, Podcast Land. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Memories with a Beat. Today I have with me Nicole Crangle, and she is my friend from an online group that I'm a part of, our WIN networking group. I know I've mentioned it a time or two before, but they're such a great group of women, and they just have so much insight to bring, and a couple of them are just really strong music lovers. So, Nicole, if you wouldn't mind, would you tell my audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi. Oh, first of all, thank you for having me, Tiffany. This is really exciting.
Of course.
I'm Nicole, and my husband and I live in Florida, Central Florida, with our 18-month-old daughter. So I'm a mama now, and yeah, it's pretty exciting. He works in admissions. I'm full-time with my daughter, thanks to a business of our own that we run and some really incredible mentorship we received to be able to do this and be full-time with her. And my background, though, is I'm from Philly, so I'm a Philly girl at heart, and my background's actually in theater and dance and music and, all of that, but especially theater and children's theater. So, yeah.
Okay, very good. That's so interesting. So, as part of Nicole's business, she has makeup. And I remember I had taken a couple of weeks off from our calls and came back on, and I was like, who is this chick? She's so cute. And you had your makeup done up, and I thought she looks like a pinup girl. It was just so sweet how your makeup was. And then as you were talking and you've shared more and everything like that, I just have to tell you that your sincere, compassionate positivity is very magnetic. So I just feel like when you speak, I want to listen. And I feel like you always have something to add to the conversation. So I'm actually really looking forward to this conversation and just looking forward to hear what you have to say about your song. So if you would, please reveal the song you've chosen for your interview.
Yes, no pressure now, right? No, that was really sweet.
No.
You're so sweet. So my song is Perfect for the Season, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas.
Yes, and I love when you reached out to me because I felt like you were reading my mind. I was like, okay, I should really, interview a couple of people regarding a Christmas song. And you reached out to me saying, I had this idea. What do you think about me doing a Christmas song? I was like, of course, that sounds perfect.
Great minds,
So
great minds.
great minds think alike. That's right. Yes. So I did barely any research. And it came out in 1944, which doesn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest thing that sticks out for this song for me, I love her vibrato. I was in the
Mm-hmm.
car listening to it, because I always try to review the song before I talk, quote unquote, on the air about it. And I was trying to match her vibrato, and I could not get mine to go that fast. But it just sounds really good when she sings it, and it really makes you think of like a black and white movie, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
And something really funny before we dive into how you connect with this song, we did trivia. Our neighborhood provides an online trivia once a week.
Oh,
And
fun.
the last time it was Christmas movies. And I am not familiar with the old school Christmas movies, not really. And so that is where I learned that this song is from Meet Me in St. Louis.
Yeah, good. That's awesome. Yay.
So I now know, hopefully it's committed to memory now, because they asked twice throughout the trivia in different ways what movie that song was from. I've got it committed to memory now.
A lot of people don't know that, and that's actually a
Mm-mm.
big reason behind the meaning of the song for me. So it was really important that we talk about the Judy Garland version from Meet Me in St. Louis, 1944, because it was actually written for that movie, which is wild.
Interesting. Yeah,
But
interesting.
the reason the movie is so key to the song meaning for me is that I first learned about this song. I was 10 years old, and I had started pursuing theater at the ripe age of like 7. So I had 3 like very big years under my belt. Not really.
Yes.
But I actually had the opportunity to play the character Tootie, which in the film version, is played by Margaret O'Brien, which is a very famous child actress at the time.
Okay.
And like Shirley Temple level,
Oh,
almost
okay.
famous, just different types of movies. But so I had the opportunity to play this character at a local high school. It was an all-girls private school known for their theater program. And I actually really wanted to go to school there too when I was older. So
Oh, cool.
I was in all of these girls, and the guys from the guys' school locally came over and did the shows there. And I was just looked up to these ladies so much. And this was my dream to go to the school. My uncle actually was, I don't know what his exact title was at the time, maybe music director there specifically. I'm not sure. So like that's how the opportunity came up. And it was just a dream come true to not only be doing theater at that level,
Yeah.
but at like my dream school, like with my uncle who I admired and I still
Oh,
admire. So that's where the meaning of the song started for me in my life and kind of carried me through a lot of life stuff when I found myself in a similar situation as the character was facing when the song was sung.
I don't know the movie. I've never seen the movie.
Okay.
So can you walk me through the plot just a little bit?
Yeah, so now you have to see the movie. Side note.
Yes, absolutely. Especially because it's December.
Yes. So in the script is based in 1904. The World's Fair was going to be in St. Louis.
Oh, okay.
And it was a really big deal. And so it follows this family, that just an average family, mom and dad, working dad, a few kids, and their little love lives and all the exciting things happening. But this little girl, she's about probably 10, the age I was when I played her. She is a pretty feature character in it. And what happens is the dad, he finds out that he has an opportunity to go work in New York. And so he's moving the whole family from St. Louis to New York, and he tells them like around Christmas time.
Oh,
And of course, this little girl doesn't know how to process this information, and she is devastated and like feels like her whole world's being torn apart. And in an effort to calm her down, her older sister, who's technically the lead in the show, which is the character Judy Garland played in the
okay.
movie, she sings this song to her before she goes to bed at night.
Oh,
And the father overhears it, it's supposed to be a heartwarming moment, but still devastating. Like, it's not like there's hope in the end. The little girl still goes out after and has a breakdown. She runs outside and crushes down the snowman they made earlier, even at the end of the song. So it's a really pivotal point, and it's a moment in the movie where the dad realizes, like, he can't do this to his family, you know, and kind of shifts the tide of the film. But it's this little girl facing this big life change that she doesn't know how to process, and the sister trying to cheer her up and tell her, like, it's going to be okay. Like, we're still going to have a Merry Christmas, you know, no matter where we are, no matter what happens, we'll muddle through, we'll get through this, and we're going to have a lovely Christmas no matter what, because we're together.
I thought that the lyrics were so heartwarming. That's because I was, trying to pay attention and dig in a little bit. But I always thought it was, I thought that the person was being sarcastic when they were like, we'll have to muddle through somehow. Anyways, and I always thought he was being sarcastic there. Or she.
Yeah, I could understand that, not knowing, like, the background of the song.
So you played in the play itself, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then how did that affect you throughout the rest of your life now with that song? Just that when you hear it, you're reminded of that time with that awesome opportunity? Or is there, something else that comes up for you?
Yeah, so for a long time in my life after that, it was that reminder and that memory and that thing that kind of set my life on a certain course in theater, and that was what it was. And it just, if someone asked me what my favorite Christmas song is, that's what I would have said.
Sure.
But I didn't know that, fast forward, gosh, how do I explain this? As I was finishing college, so I ended up majoring in theater, all of that. And as I was finishing college, I had, through a series of circumstances, decided to come work at Disney. So I decided that I wanted to pursue children's theater specifically. And I knew that I'd always wanted to work at Disney because I'm from Philadelphia, so I'm not from Florida.
Yeah.
So I just didn't want to look back and regret not seeing what that was like and not going for it. And then knowing I wanted to work with kids, it just seemed like a perfect place to be. And so I started out by just being a part of the college program, the Disney college program, so that I could just at least get here with housing and then figure out performing from there.
What does that all entail
And
exactly? So when you say the college program, I'm not familiar with that.
I mean, it's working basic work for Disney in, whatever
Like the
capacity.
concessions or just whatever?
Anything that you get chosen for. Yeah, it could be concessions, it could be merchandise, it could be entertainment, which 9 times out of 10 doesn't mean you're friends with a character, but it could be photo pass, like rides, attractions, whatever it is. It's just the addition that you're either in school or just finished school, and there's housing and like assistance too. So that's what was a difference maker for me than just working for Disney and having to figure that out.
That's a huge perk.
So yeah. But what happened was I graduated. I got in my first professional work. So I was working at a theater over the summer out further in a different part of Pennsylvania. And so I graduated. I had already moved there. I came back for graduation. I went to work there. I was in a pretty a relationship at the time that really had an impact on my life and the course of my life at that time. And now that summer theater gig ends, I'm moving home as it's ending, and as I'm thinking about the fact that I have to go back home and get ready to go to Disney, that relationship ends, it was probably one of the most heartbreaking seasons of my life. And a lot of people don't know that because I've had other things that seemed like they should have been more heartbreaking, and other, that weren't like this season that I was in.
Well, it just depends on where that relationship catches you, It doesn't necessarily have to be your first love that kills you the most. It can be a number of circumstances, and for whatever reason, that one is the one that really got the better of you.
And I think that's why I'm explaining like all these different things coming together, because I think that's why it was such a heartbreaking experience, because I'm going home to Philadelphia from South Central Pennsylvania from that job. I just graduated college. I'm about to go to Disney by myself. So that's 18 hours away. And in the 2-week period of time I have at home, my family is packing, and I have to figure out packing and getting rid of and saving my entire life because they're about to sell my family home. So like,
Oh,
I mean, there's stuff that I think about and I'm like, I don't even know where that went. Like, it turns out they just trashed it all. Like, I don't even, like, there's stuff that meant something to me. Like, it was a very turning point time in my life with like 5 different life-changing things happening at
yeah.
once.
That's a lot for
And
any person.
things that I was coming from that I missed, and things that I was headed to that I was excited about, and things that I was heartbroken about in the meantime. All of that to say that this song just kept coming up in my life, especially I'm in Florida. I'm angry at everybody. I'm angry at having chosen the path I chose. Like, I'm angry. Like, all I want to do is go home and see if things could go back to the way they were. And not just in that relationship, but it represented my life in general,
Yeah.
going back to the way it was in my mind. Like, I thought if I could just get home, and now, I'm facing Christmas there because the program didn't end till January.
Okay.
So this was September. Now I'm facing Christmas there. I don't like hot weather. I'm not liking Florida.
Oh,
Like,
no.
I miss snow. I'm weird and I love winter. Like, I could live in winter all year round,
Ugh.
and people think I'm
I
crazy
think you're
and say I
crazy.
don't understand. I know, but there's just something about it. And, yeah, so I'm facing all this, and now I'm having winter with palm trees and Christmas in a hotel room because my family came in to stay at a hotel locally. And it was awful. And this song was like, I would just like cry in my car, like singing it on the way to like the parks to work or whatever. And it just really got me through that season because it didn't break me. There was good that was going to come, and I had to believe that.
Yeah.
And I had to believe there was a reason that I chose the things I did that made my life alter the way it did to come to Florida. And I just had to believe that, and just know that there was a reason. So that was the place I was in at the time.
How old were you when that happened?
I was 22. I was about to turn 23, actually. I was 22.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how much later did you meet your husband in Florida?
So yes. So we get through Christmas, and now it's like February, March. I started, in addition to working at Disney, I started cutting back there and working at a university nearby, and applying to grad school back up north because I started to realize that the money at Disney wasn't going to cut it. I needed more solid work, and I wanted to prepare to move home, and I got into grad school for children's theater and early childhood education and like all of that. And so I was planning to move home. And what I did was I decided to start my semester online in the fall. And I just said, you know what, because I feel like there's a reason I came here, I'm just going to, on faith, sign a 6-month lease just to give it just a little bit longer, just to be sure, and give it one more try. And if I'm still not liking Florida, then after I get through the online semester, I'll move home, and finish my grad degree in person at the university up there. And literally like that week, I met my husband.
Oh my goodness. Now,
Yes.
did he do anything with Disney? Is he a theater person at all?
No. He was just working at that university that I had gotten the temporary, what I thought would be temporary job at. And well, that's a whole nother story. It was not love at first sight on my end. Let's just say that. But yeah, that's when I met him, was during the season, like still angry, still heartbroken,
Well, that's probably
still
why
questioning.
too,
right? Yeah, that's true.
You weren't open. You weren't receptive. So
yes. And that's so true. Cause yes.
Yeah. Yep. You weren't looking, and you had the blinders on, and he was looking. I know. I really was attracted to my husband. And then I think that he just thought like, I don't know, it'll be like some fling, or yeah, I could take her out, whatever. And then we ended up almost switching roles, where I was like, he came to me about 3 weeks later and said, well, I'm getting transferred. And I was like, huh. I said, well, I mean, it's been fun. It's been a good run. Like, I didn't really know what to say. And he was like, well, I was kind of hoping maybe you'd move with me. And long story short, I had nothing else holding me to where I was. And I thought, I could do that. So,
that.
yeah, so I can appreciate, maybe not love at first sight or not
Ah,
like, both people feeling the same amount at the same time. Yeah. And so I moved with him and then, those feelings grew and grew even more. And
wow.
yeah,
That was a faith
it was a
move.
faith.
Just like me coming to Florida, there was a
Yep.
reason.
Yep. So 20 years later, we just celebrated 20 years marriage. And so 20 years later, here we are. And we're
Wow.
also in
That's
Florida,
huge.
but for the reverse reason of you, we were trying to get away from it. Now, I will say, when it would snow the first 2 or 3 times, I was the mom, like no other mom would be out there with their kids, but I would be like, guys, it's snowing. Put your snow pants on. Let's go. We had this awesome townhome in the Chicago area, in one of the burbs. And we had this little hill right outside. And we could sled on
Oh,
that thing at like 10 o'clock at night.
yes.
It was so awesome. So, like Friday, Saturday night, we'd be out there sledding until like 10 o'clock at night. It was the best because it was like
Mm-hmm.
this soccer field. So it was well lit.
Oh,
Yeah. And it was right
my
outside.
heart
Yeah.
is just,
Yeah.
oh.
So that was my favorite thing when it would snow, just to go. I like to go ruin all the fresh snow. It's like all perfect and pretty. I love to go ruin
Yeah.
it all.
Oh,
But
that's
yeah,
rebellious.
but I only like it for a short amount of time. I was telling my husband, I'm like, I'm kind of starting to get an itch for snow. He's like, you are?
Yeah.
I said, listen, I'm talking like 2 nights in Georgia and back home.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a little quick trip.
Yes, I am not trying to be in it for, 6, 7 months, whatever it is, because we moved from Minnesota. Um,
Wow. Yeah. That is a little different level of snow
mhm. Yeah,
situation than Pennsylvania's.
yeah, it was a lot of snow. Happy to get out of it. And my husband was just getting so grumpy with like shoveling it, and my van would never
Yeah.
make it up my driveway. And so sometimes he'd come home at like 10 o'clock at night and my car would be like halfway in the middle of the road and he'd have to fix it all. And can't
Uh,
say that I blame him.
I can understand that. I think I wasn't at the age yet or the place in life yet where I had to be responsible for stuff like
Right.
that. So I think it was a more enjoyable memory. Like looking back, it's like magical and fun.
Yeah.
But if I moved there now, it would not be because I have a child and,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for sharing this song with me. I'm glad that you brought it to my attention because it definitely has a different feel for me, and it will, I mean, forever now. And just that short
Mm,
explanation, I think I would like the movie itself. So I am definitely intrigued to go watch it. And I think that I just always thought, like, oh, it's an old movie. I don't know. But I actually like old movies.
yeah.
I do like them, and I really appreciate the innocence of them, or like, the women were so classy. So
Mm,
yeah, I appreciate it, and now I know the person is not being smug.
mm-hmm,
They're actually saying like, we're gonna get through it, and
mm-hmm.
and I guess for you, it should be have yourself a merry little life, because it applied to you, when it wasn't
Yeah.
Christmas. So,
Yeah.
but I can see how, I could see myself being in your shoes, being in my
Mm,
car, and
yeah.
kind of having a pity party about it for a minute and trying to figure it out. Did you get to have any fun roles at Disney, or was it all like just
Oh. No, no, so actually, the job that I took to get down here, I didn't
mm-hmm.
actually start auditioning until also like the week I met my husband. And
Oh.
because as we started like becoming more serious and, you know, he already was working with our business mentors and building our business at that time when I met him, my dreams
Uh-huh.
and goals shifted a little bit. So I actually stopped pursuing theater at that time.
Okay.
So yeah, I didn't get very far with auditions anyway. So I auditioned
Yeah.
like twice and then just decided that I wanted to put myself in a position where I could have the freedom to do it on my terms someday and make sure
Yeah.
my kids, I could be there when my kids got to experience it. And
Yeah.
I just decided I wanted that more than the fulfillment of like, yeah, doing it
Theater
then.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and whatever avenue that was. We went to Disney. We were down here for a conference and ended up spending a day at Epcot. And then we went over to the castle. What's the castle park?
Magic Kingdom.
Magic Kingdom. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Okay. And we saw Mary
Oh,
Poppins. And I am telling you
mhm.
what, I was immediately 5
Mhm.
years old.
Oh, yeah.
They're so good. They never break character. They're always in it 100%. It was so awesome.
Mhm.
And I could see you really playing
Oh,
any of those characters and giving them justice for sure.
the way that height works, I would have been friends with Wendy, Tinkerbell's, like the fairies, and
Uh-huh.
Alice would have been my height ranges that I would have been friends with. And it was a dream of mine to play Wendy, because the reason that I realized I wanted to work with kids in theater was because of a production of Peter Pan we did my senior year.
Oh.
So I definitely appreciate you saying that, because in my mind,
Yeah.
someday, that's actually where my daughter's name came from too. Crazy.
Oh, cool.
It's wild that season of my life, when I was about to enter such heartbreak, like brought about all these incredible things. Like those seeds were planted to what my life looked like today. It's crazy. My daughter's name is not Wendy. I just wanna.
What? What is your daughter's name again?
Jane.
Jane. Okay, I don't know if I ever knew that. Okay,
Yes.
Jane. Very good. Little Disney family sitting right there in middle of Florida.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to take her for the first time.
Oh yeah, it'll be fun. But don't you think too that two things. You'll be very nostalgic, thinking like,
Mm-hmm.
and then do you
Mm-hmm.
think that you'll have not necessarily regrets, but curiosity, like, oh, that could have been me, and I wonder what my life would have been like with this, or are you just
No,
super at peace with it?
that's a good question. Not with Disney. I have to admit, when we've gone to see local theater, not like amusement park
Yeah.
theater, I've had a hard time with
Okay.
that. That's been a little bit challenging emotionally still for me. But not Disney so much, because that was just a season to get me to work with kids. It wasn't like I wanted to work at Disney the rest of my life. I just wanted to do it and not look back. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, I tell my son is 20 and he's in college and trying to figure out life, and he thinks everybody has it figured out, which I keep trying to tell him, like, no, we're all just going day by day and trying to make the best choices we can. And I tell him, like, whatever you think you want to do, if you think you want to become a doctor, start working in a doctor's office or start working in a pharmacy. Start doing things that are related to the field that you want to be in. So I imagine that's kind of where you were at, like, okay, I want to do children's theater. I could go to Disney. I'm going to get my housing and some other assistance, and it will put me in that realm and give me that experience, while I'm figuring things out.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And then once I met my husband and our business mentors now today, they challenged me to think about, well, what do you love to do, and like what experiences will like help you learn if that's what you want to do with your life, but what kind of life do you want to live, and what do you want your life to look like? And it was funny because I was pursuing theater because I loved it. And if I had to work, I wanted it to be theater because I loved it. But if they asked me 10 years from now what I wanted my life to look like, I would have said, I want to have time and money, and I want to be there with my kids and my family, and I want to be able to call my own shots and do things that I want to do instead of stuff I have to do because I have to request off, or I have to, whatever. I know you relate with some of this stuff. And my answer to that's what helped me be okay and at peace with moving on from that season of my life, because I knew that I was onto something greater, because the vehicle I was in, which was theater, financially was not going to get me to the life that my answer was that I wanted.
Right.
So I was at peace with changing courses so that I could have the life I wanted, even if maybe I didn't love like physically doing the work that would create that.
Yeah. Well, I took this program and they talked about an ikigai. Have you ever heard of that?
No. What's
I
that?
have to imagine it's a Japanese term. I took Japanese and it's spelled like a Japanese word
Ooh.
is. So I think that that's where it's derived from. But it's something that you are good at, something that you want to do, and something you're good at, something people need, and something that makes money. So your ikigai isn't always the thing that you love the most, where you love theater most, but you're still doing something that you enjoy. It's something people need, and you're making money doing it. So that's your ikigai.
I love that. We're going to have to talk more about that the future. I love that. That's so true.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get hung up on that they have to love what their ikigai is.
Yeah. No.
And I didn't. Like I grew to love what it can create and the impact it can make. But yeah, I wasn't like theater, like, or an art or whatever. I don't know. Or some people love basketball, but maybe I don't know.
Not everybody
I can't
can
do a
be
basketball
Jordan.
analogy.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, it really resonated with me. Well, thank you so much for your time tonight, Nicole. I appreciate all of your insights, and I hope you have yourself a merry little Christmas.
You too, Tiffany, and I hope you get to watch the movie.
Oh, I'm definitely going to, for sure. It's on the to-do list.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
Podcast land, thank you so much for listening. If you had a few memories of your own pop up with this episode, make sure to take a screenshot, tag me on social, Tiffany Mason or Virtually You, and share those memories. I know y'all are listening, and I'd love to hear the memories you were reminded of with this song. Also, would you do me a favor and share this episode with someone you think would enjoy it? This is the best way you can help me to grow my audience. Can't wait to dive into my next guest's Memories with a Beat. Hit subscribe now. You don't want to miss the next episode.